I would talk to friends the way I talk to myself, I wouldn't have any friends. That's kind of true. And for me sometimes as well, when you're beating yourself up over something you've done, the way you look, whatever it is in everyday life, sometimes we don't even realize it until it makes us feel uncomfortable.
So on the morning, I told my children, today I'm going to buy our house. I was so excited, and I met up with my boss and we went to this auction, and it was more people there. And I just thought, this is my house. I actually thought that he was going to live until he was cremated, because I was so positive, and I have a very good connection with visualization and affirmation. So I just thought he will be alive again, and I thought that was me. Well, he was going to live, but of course this was grief.
Hello, dear fellow dreamers, and welcome back to another episode of Dreamers Unplugged. Today, I have Elin with me. We're going to talk a little about her story, because for me, this is one of the most emotional and incredible stories ever. And also for me, she is the queen of vision boards and the queen of manifestation, but she will come to that later, I hope. But first of all, hi, Elin.
Hello, nice to be here.
Thanks for being here. And let's start by introducing yourself. Where you're from, what you do, whatever you want to tell us.
Thank you. Well, I'm from Sweden, and now I'm living in Malaga, Torremolinos, and I'm a coach, a life crisis coach. So my specialty is to help people find their inner strength.
Nice. And how did you, this is a very specific area of coaching, because you said life crisis coach, right?
Yes.
How did you come to that?
Well, this has all to do with my life and my experience. I have experienced a lot, but the thing that was the big part of this and my move here to Spain was the fact that my husband suddenly died.
Yeah, I still get goosebumps because I know how you have had. We met quite recently after you first moved here, right?
Yes.
I think it was pretty much in the beginning. I think you had just experienced the loss a couple of months earlier, if I'm not mistaken.
Or no, it had gone a year when we get here.
Yeah. Which is quite fresh, if you see it is of grief.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Very fresh.
So how did you manage to go from grieving to moving abroad and finding yourself and happiness again?
Oh, that's very interesting, because as many of you know, this part of grief is like a black big hole that you are going in so deep, so you don't know if you ever are going to come out alive. But I heard a person told me that grief is like you are within a, what you call it, when a ship breaks down.
A shipwreck?
Yes, a shipwreck. And you follow the ship down in the dark water, not sure if you're going to survive. But then after a while, you will find yourself on the surface, surviving, but holding on to pieces after the wreck. And these pieces are memories. And maybe these pieces are people around you that are helping you in your grief. And maybe it's just a song or something that reminds you of the lost one. And all of this time, because of the accident, the waves is coming over you, very large and every second. And this is grief, because at first it's over you all the time, and you're just swimming and are not sure that you are going to live. But after a while, these waves will be a little bit shorter, smaller, and they won't come as often, but they will come. And when they come over you, just swishing over you with water, and you will be all wet, but you will swim, and you will survive. And this is grief, that first you think that this is not possible to survive this boat accident. But then you will find yourself swimming and alive. And the same thing was for me.
That's insane. I love the picture of the shipwreck, but also because, now looking back, it's probably easier to tell this metaphor like, okay, this is how I felt. But in that moment, like, you really feel like you cannot breathe. So I think what's super interesting also from my point of view looking at you is how you knowingly, okay, it will get better, and just try to do one step at the time. At least that's how it looked like from the outside. I don't know if that was a plan, just one step at a time.
I think for me, it might seem like I had a plan at the start when he died, but I didn't. Because grief is so, I can't explain it. It's just this big black hole that you are going into. I think at the beginning, I didn't realize how it was possible that this was happening to me, because I'm a very positive person, and I experience positive things and lovely things and love and joy, and my days are great. And then he dies, just like this. So at the beginning, I didn't realize how it was possible, but I also have learned that the grief has 5 stages.
Yeah.
And this, what's it's called? Denial is one big one.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that he was going to live until he was cremated, because I was so positive. And I have a very good connection with visualization and affirmation. So I just thought, oh, he will be alive again. And I thought that was me, positive me. Well, he was going to live. But of course, this was grief.
Yeah. This is a really good point. I hope I can dive into that a little, because I know that you have been doing manifestation and vision boards for like years. You didn't start at that moment.
No.
Right? Maybe you can talk a little bit about how you got like major things in your life, because we talked about this quite excessively. But then what would be interesting for me as well is like how, because you said you couldn't believe it, because we assume, and I think that's the idea of many people out there, you manifest something and then everything is just flowing. Like everything always works out. Like every area of my life, and like I just have it and then everything's going to be fine. But reality sometimes looks a little different.
Yes.
Even if you're good at manifestation.
That's right.
Even if you're good at visualization. So let's break it down. Let's start with all the things that you have used manifestation for so far.
Well, I think one important thing to realize is that you can affect your life, and you can be positive, and you can visualize and manifest, but you can't change other people. And that's very important, because when I started with this, and this was many years ago, way before my last husband, and I thought that if I just was a little bit more positive, just thought a little bit more on the future and everything is great, then the other person that I was with at this moment would change. No. This is not the way it works. No, you can change the reality for other people too, if they want to be a part in this journey, in this transformation. But you can't change people who don't want to.
That is a really good point. I think especially when we talk about, and let's talk about like as girls, we manifest our dream man, right? But maybe people change over time as well. So I think that's what we're forgetting there as well. And both have to have the same vision, not just one.
That's right.
I never thought about it that way, but it's true.
Yes, and the thing that happens, because of course, if you are in a bad relationship, which I was at the time, you can be happy again. You can be in a loving relationship, but maybe not with this guy or girl. So the fact is that when you're visualizing and set your goals, if this person won't live up to it, you will meet another person, and this person that are bad for you will vanish.
True. Because I think we're sometimes so stuck on that one person, and it doesn't always have to be the romantic relationship. We can translate that to business as well.
Of course.
Like, you're the perfect person to talk about this because you have also had multiple business over time.
Yes.
Maybe sometimes it's not that the path that we're on, but it will lead us to where we should be. And I think what I'm also realizing the older I get is that every season has its own tools to get where we want to be. But yeah, so let's circle back. So when did you first start using visualization? How did that happen?
Oh, I start to read The Secret.
Yes.
And this
the book or
the book.
Okay.
Yes. And this was about, I think, maybe 11 years ago. No. I'm lying. It was No, I don't remember right. I think it was about 15 years ago. Yes. And I read it and I start to process it.
Yeah, that's definitely for everyone who hasn't heard about The Secret. It's definitely not an easy to read book.
No.
And there's also a documentary, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a thing that you have to apply. Like you have to learn integrating it into life. At least that was it for me. Like it didn't happen
No.
like this. So yeah, processing is a good word for that.
Yes, and because of this, I thought I was reading very exactly every word of it. And because of this, I thought, oh, if I just think a little bit more positive, everything will be okay. But after a few sit-downs, I learned that, okay, I can affect my reality
Yeah.
and the people that want to in my reality. But the other people I have to let go to be happy.
And that even though you visualize it, that still hurts sometimes.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So, and I feel that's a good point because manifestation, we always seem like we're just positive and then suddenly appears without us feeling anything.
Mm.
But usually like grief and hurt is part of the process. At least I have seen that a lot of times because you develop into another person.
Yes. It's the backside of love.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It's crazy. So what did you use it for? Like, how did you first start realizing this actually works?
Yes, and it somehow it can sound like hocus pocus. But the things that we are thinking about, creating a vision in our mind, and this vision, when we think about it, it creates feeling and emotions. So it has this cycle, and because of our emotions, we will act in different ways. And I strongly believe that likes attract like. And of course, this also affects the thing. But when we are thinking in the right steps, we will find things because our brain always tries to help us. If you say, I can't do this, okay, I will try to help you. So you can't do this, the brain think.
Yeah, it supports what we're believing. True.
We have a superpower because when we say, oh, I can do this, even though maybe you haven't done it before, the brain will start to think, oh, can you do this really? And she's saying this over and over again. I can do this. Okay, I will help you somehow. I will find possibilities. I will hear things that I wouldn't have heard otherwise. So it's no hocus pocus. It's obvious. It works.
It does. So what was the first, do you have one moment where you first realized this works?
Yes, I was standing at my work, sorting things. I was working, and then I was working in garden center.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wouldn't it be great to talk to a lot of people? I don't know this English word to...
Like on a stage?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Speak like a speaker.
Yes, a speaker. I would like to be a speaker, but I didn't know how it was going to work. But I remember I thought that, oh, wouldn't it be great to be a speaker on stage? And then after just a few minutes, my boss at the time came out with a paper in his hand. And he said, Elin, I got this paper and it's from a garden club that wants someone to talk about gardening, and I'm not up to it. Is it something for you? And I just, yes.
That was quick.
Wow, amazing. And that was my first speech. And then I have spoken many times on stage. But that was the first time I really realized, wow.
But did you realize it in that moment, like what's happening? You felt it.
Yes.
And how did you then move on to bigger goals?
Well, the small ones are easy. For example, find a parking place or something. But you have to be precise because if you just say, I want a parking place next to the door, which door? It's a lot of doors in the world. Yes. So you have to be exact and precise. But then I'm very fond of vision boards. And a vision board is where you put the pictures of the things you have in your life, which are very dear. For example, I always have something about my family on that. But then I have my visions for the future, pictures.
So you also, sorry to interrupt you there, so you also put stuff on there in your life currently that you want to keep?
Yes.
I think that's something I've never done.
But mostly it's the family, because I think everything else I'm open for changes.
Okay,
So I think it's the family I always keep there.
that might be a key, because we're always focusing on what has to change. So then things we actually like having in our life changes as well. I'm gonna change mine today. I'm gonna add some stuff there.
Yes, and also the fact that if you, for example, put up a picture that you want a new house, if you also have your family with you, the universe and the mind will find it so much easier to visualize, because in this house, you're not alone. And if you every time think about, oh, my house, my house, my house. Well, but in this house, you have your family, there are sounds, it smells something. Someone is cooking something. I hear music. Oh, how lovely, we are going to have a dinner here. That's the way it just speeds up.
So you think that because, just that I understand it right, our brain, it's easier to connect something actually in our life already, like the picture of your family, and we see it, you see it every day, so you see them every day. So it's easier to connect that real life with the vision.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, quite.
That's it. That's interesting. So how often do you do a vision board?
Well, the one I have now is very recent. And then it was very much in my life, and we were moving here and we changed our house and so. So then I forgot about it. No, not really forgot about it, but I had it inside of me. But when I see my vision board, it goes so much faster. So my first vision board, that was when I really realized, wow, I can just check on that. And at that time, I was living in the city with my 3 children. I was a lonely mom, and I wanted to live on the countryside. I wanted a house there. So I had that picture of the barn. I want a barn to the house, a really country place. And well, I also had I wanted chickens and all sorts of stuff. And I think every part on this vision board came true, except horses. But I don't really like horses. I think that was just a picture of the countryside, horses. But I am a little bit afraid of horses.
I still think they have a huge head.
Oh, they are so strong. Big.
Exactly.
So no. So
subconsciously your brain was telling you horses, not a good idea.
And at the time, I couldn't afford to buy a house. I couldn't afford it. But one and a thing led to another, because it isn't just a vision board, just sit around visualizing. It's an action board. You have to take action.
That's a good point. I think that a lot of people forget that part, which is actually more important than the first one. So what do you mean by action board? Like let's stay with because I know the house story, and I love the house story. Because it has everything in there that you need to know for vision boards. So let's go through that story. She shared it. This one is a good story. Yeah, because you say you're having the actions in there. So why don't you walk us through a little bit about how that went and how did that house came into your life?
Well, I put up this picture on my vision board. And I also went on a little picnic with my friend to a garden center. And this garden center has this beautiful barn. And I saw, oh, these are the windows I want in my barn. So I said to my friend, okay, take a photo of me. I will stand here and pretend that this is my plants and this is my barn. And she did, and I put this photo on my computer. Yes, so this I was already there, yes. And then, of course, I had a job, but I was just working part-time. And at the time, I think many of us have heard stories about the prince will come and save us. And when he does, you will have it all. You will have the house, the car, everything. So I waited. And I think it also puts a lot of pressure on the partner you meet. Oh, he has to have it all, not only the love. And after a while, I realized that my sister was living alone in her house. She had a house, car, children, dogs. Wow, why not Me. So I realized it has all to do with me, that I wasn't working on the proper job. So, I need a full-time job then. So I saw an ad and I put it on my vision board, their logotype. And they called me for an interview and I get there. And then they called me a couple of days later and they said, no, you didn't get the job. Oh, why? Because we realized that you don't want to clean staircase. That was true. I haven't said that, but it was true. Okay. But we will come back to you. Okay. And they did after 2 weeks. And the logo was up on my vision board. And they returned and they said, okay, we are going to
Hire
you. Yes. And so I had my job. And I also had my own firm. And I was drawing gardens on my free time. Yes. And writing in newspapers. So I also got money from this. So I was starting to save money.
And by the time you already had three daughters,
yes,
right?
3 daughters, yes. And one really little. She was just, I think she was maybe 2 years when I started this.
So still toddlers.
Yes. But I had this vision. We were going to live at the countryside. And suddenly this house came out on internet and I saw this was my barn. It was my house. And it was fantastic. And it was really a disaster because it was a drug dealer's house. And they were also having plants, drug plants, cannabis. So it was a huge places, yes. But he got caught and went to jail. Okay. And then they was going to sell the house in an auction. Yes, and I thought, this is my house. It was a reasonable price. It has a lot to do on it. But, it has got walls and roof and... Yes, so I was excited. Yes. So I was excited. So I think when you visualize, it goes much faster if you can live like it has already happened, because the universe doesn't know the difference. And if you always think, oh, this will be in the future, it will never be now. So I always try to think, it's now. It's fantastic, it's now. So I thought about this house. I showed it to all my friends and they just, oh, Elin, it's a lot to do. Yes. But it was my price. It was my house. And I said hello to the neighbors. Hello, I'm going to buy this house. And they just, okay. Oh, really? And I wrote my name on the address. And on the morning for the auction, I was a little bit nervous because I realized that I hadn't got much money. And I have asked my boss at the time. I was then working with real estates and taking care of them. So I had asked one of my bosses if he would go with me to this auction because he was used to this and I was terrified. So on the morning, I told my children, today I'm going to buy our house. I was so excited and I met up with my boss and we went to this auction and it was more people there. And I just thought, what? This is my house.
What are they doing here?
Oh, what are they doing here? So I had all my savings. I had also a little loan from my friend. And I also knew that I was going to get a bonus the next year.
From the job?
Yes, from the job. So I asked my boss, if it's so, is it possible that I could get this bonus today? Yes, it is, he said, it's possible. Okay. So we went in and the auction started and one more and, was bidding. And I was so nervous I could hardly breathe. The heart was in my throat and just pumping so badly. And I forgot everything about, because at the time we have to pay 10% if I get it. And I couldn't count 10%. It's the assist. Yes. I was just so nervous. And then I was bidding. And then I had 5,000, but in Swedish money, so I think about 500 euro left. That was it. Then I have used all of my money. Crazy, yes. Because this house needed a lot of love also. But okay, I had 500 euro still. And the couple behind me was bidding. They were 2, I was 1. Okay, but I bid my last 5 and they bid over me. Okay. But then I looked at my boss and he just, yes, you may have your bonus. Yes. Okay. because I had then bidden all my money and my friend's money. And I continued just, and then again, they bid. And I had just, I think, maybe 500 euro. And I was my last bid, 500 more. And they bid over me. No, it was my house. I was terrified. I was all pale. I just, no, it's not happening because I couldn't. I couldn't anything, not 1 euro. And I just, terrified, I looked at my boss and he just turned to me, whispered, you can borrow from me so you can bid a little bit more. And just, wow. And then I think 1,000 euro and the house was mine. And I was, wow, it was amazing. And then I could renovate the house and the bank would lend me money so I can pay my friend and I could pay my boss. And fantastic. Fantastic.
The story has everything. First of all, you have to take action. You have to take the risk. Second of all, you can get help as well.
Yes.
So we don't have to do it on our own all the time. I think that's something that especially these days, young women feel like they have to do everything on their own. No. It's not how the universe works. Sometimes it's quicker when people help.
Of course.
It's easier.
Yes, you don't have to do it yourself. No. But you have to have the action.
Yeah, you have to
go.
start.
Yes.
You have to start and take the first step. So that's why I love it. Okay, love the house story. But I also love how you change careers over time and how you went from being a mom to full-time work, part-time business owner, and now you're here in Spain. Recently started your own business here as well, which is crazy. How is that going?
Oh, it's going fantastic. I'm a coach and I have my own company now, a Spanish company that's called Naranja Coaching. And I have worked on this model that sees the person as an orange with the clefts and the core. So the life has a lot of clefts. The money, the friends, the love, the work, the health, all of this is a person.
True.
And in all of this, you have an inner core that you really like and things that you really, really want. And this is fantastic to work with people because I realized this when my husband died. I was working then with real estates and gardenings connected to them. And I couldn't see any point with this. Why am I doing this? Of course, it's lovely to have nice gardens, but I wanted to do something more. And I have worked with students, adult students in gardening for many years. And then I realized that when I was helping people to find their inner strength, when I can see someone just, well, I can. When this light switch on, that they realize they have all the power they have. Even though they are in the darkest black hole, they have this fantastic power. And I realized this is my work. Nice. I have to work with this. Yes.
Nice. What do you see are like the most common or the most frequent things you see that are holding people back to find that, like, how did you call it, true power?
Well, I think the big thing is the way we talk to ourselves. That's the big thing. If we could just talk to ourselves better, our lives will change.
True. I read the other day a quote that was saying, if I would talk to friends the way I talk to myself, I wouldn't have any friends.
No, exactly. Exactly.
If you're from this, that's kind of true. And for me, sometimes as well, when I'm like, when you're beating yourself up over something you've done, or the way you look, or whatever it is in everyday life, sometimes we don't even realize it until it makes us feel uncomfortable. That's why I love our feelings. They show us what we think.
Yes, they never lie.
No, true. They don't lie. That is true. No, they don't lie. But yeah, so what would you say is an easy exercise, or how can we make the first step of changing the way we talk to ourselves?
Or that that isn't easy, I will say, but it is possible, and you can do something every day. And I think a good practice is to look in the mirror and say good things. Maybe if you are tired, you will say to yourself, for example, I went to school when my second daughter was very little, and I was extremely tired. But I decided, no, I will turn this around. And every day in the mirror, even though I was crying, I said to myself, you are strong, you are capable of handling this, you are happy. And I was just crying. So sometimes we have to tell ourselves things that isn't true, but are good. Because we never question ourselves when we are telling ourselves bad thing.
Yeah, we believe that's way easier than the good thing.
Yes, if I say to myself, oh, I can't do this, I can never handle these problems, blah, blah, blah. That's not true most of the time, but it's okay to lie. In that case, it's okay. But to say, oh, I can handle everything perfect, that's not okay. No, that's not true. So, when you are lying to yourself about something bad, it's okay. But if you're lying up to yourself about something good about you, or something good you will be managing later on, that's not really
Why do you think is that we believe the bad stuff easily? If someone says something, or even if we talk bad about ourselves, we believe it. Like, it's just true. Or even if someone else says something to us, we kind of believe it really quick. Right? If they say something nice, so many people, or that you can see that also when you do compliments to someone, they're like, really? Seriously? I'm like, yeah. So it's harder for us to believe something good than the bad stuff. What do you think that is?
I think it goes way back in time. Because way back in time, there was winning by being afraid and being alert and always looking for signs of danger. Way back in time, there was a favor if we always looked for dangerous thing. So I think it's connected with this. In our brain, the things of danger, big things, horrible things, sad things that trigger us very much. For example, when you talk to your colleagues for lunchtime, if someone starts to talk about bad stuff, it's a chain reaction. Everyone, oh yes, I've been through that too, yes. Oh, it's awful. How bad.
Yeah.
But it's much harder to start a conversation about joyful things. Oh, well, I did that too. Yeah. It's not that easy.
No, you feel kind of snobby in a way. Yeah. Sometimes if you say, hey, I'm proud of what I've done. I'm proud of what I've achieved, or I loved what I've seen there, or it's like you feel weird in the beginning saying things out loud like this, because you feel like you shouldn't say that.
No,
there's always this voice that says like you shouldn't like show everyone what you've been doing, like what the good things that are happening. But once you're in that room where people only talk about this, that energy is unmatched.
Yes, it's fantastic.
And I think that's the key to manifestation as well.
Absolutely.
Being surrounded by these people.
Yes.
Makes it quicker and easier.
Of course, yes. And also I think with manifestation and the people around us, for example, my vision board, I'm not showing it to everyone.
Yeah. Oh no.
Some people want to do that. But if you show everyone your biggest dreams, then someone will say, is it really possible? Isn't that a too big house? What about the electricity? It will cost you a fortune. Or
cleaning it.
Oh, yes. They will find trouble. And when they have found trouble and told you this, your brain will start to go in a negative circle. So sometimes, yes, it's good sometimes if you want to have opinions. But otherwise, I prefer to have it for myself.
Yeah.
Or my nearest, yes.
We have to be careful who we share the dreams with, because not everyone will understand it. No. Or not everyone, they don't even have to understand it, but just accept it. The question should be, how can I help you get there?
Yes. But I also think sometimes I'm certain that every one of us have experienced this when we are telling this, I want to do this. And then our friends or family say, oh, no, I don't think you should, or how could it work, or something, and you just, okay, well, you don't believe in this or what? But I think it's not the case that they don't believe in it. They are afraid. First of all, they are afraid for themselves. Where am I in your dream? If you are moving to this gorgeous country, Spain, where am I in your dream? What's my place in your dream? Or maybe they haven't done it. Oh, it sounds terrifying that you are moving. It can be dangerous. So Spain, I've heard something. And they can be afraid for this too.
Yeah.
So I think that it's very rare that they don't like your dreams or share your dreams, but they have different feelings.
Yeah, true. And it doesn't have to come from a bad place either.
No.
Sometimes it's a good place it's coming from, but it still hurts you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I never thought about that they will ask themselves, where am I in this dream? Yeah, maybe that's a good point of when you talk about it, include them in your dreams. Of like, hey, imagine this beautiful house and we all sit together at the table with amazing dinner nights or whatever, or pool parties, or I don't know what the dream is. But then it will feel easier for them as well.
Yes, I'm certain of that. For example, if you have a partner and you're dreaming of this fantastic career and I will do this and that, and it can be terrifying.
Terrifying?
Terrifying, yes.
Yeah.
For the other person, okay, you're doing all of this stuff, and me, what about me? I want to go to my work and continue with this.
Yeah.
What will happen with me?
Would you suggest couples to do one together as well?
Sessions.
Like
vision
boards, yeah.
Oh, yes, if they could.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, two people together with minds on the same. Wow.
Yeah, I feel like it's
super nice.
First of all, it's even quicker. Like you put together your energies, but also feeling in relationships at the same time. If you have a vision and your partner has one and they go in different directions, you as a couple have a problem.
Yes.
So either you find everyone keeps theirs, but they have like a third one for them together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's very important.
In the next relationship. All right. Always to close every podcast episode, we do ask one question, and that is, what would you advise someone that wants to follow their dreams, which you have done so many times in your life and continue doing it? What would be the greatest advice that they should do?
Well, let me think. I think it's important to take your dream and make it into a goal.
Ooh. What does that change? What's the difference there? Can you explain
what you mean by that? I think a dream is always a dream. It's something cloudy, fluffy, and nice, but you never get there. But a goal has got steps, for example. You have your big goal, and then you can take small part goals, small steps. Because sometimes, for example, when we moved here, it took a year to manage everything. So you have to take all of these small steps to get where you want, and it's worth it. But also, if you have this plan and this goal, you can make these part steps and make them count, because the brain likes speed.
Yeah.
And wow, something happening. And when it takes time, for example, when you are working out, the first month is great, and then, oh, no, nothing is happening. I will end this. Because the brain wants speed. So you have to recognize also the small steps towards your goal. But if you have it here, okay, here where I'm going.
Yeah.
It's much more clear.
That is true. Then you also feel like you're still on the path to there, because you go from one level to the next without maybe not seeing it right away. But it's the small things.
Yes.
That's a perfect ending. Thanks, Elin, for being here, for sharing your story, for giving us so many tips that we can include now.
Perfect.
And to you guys, I'm looking forward to the next episode, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
See you. Bye.